All right, y'all. So let's talk about The Idol, the most controversial show I think that we're gonna have all year, or maybe just any piece of media, right? Like I'm just saying it already. Rolling Stone had put out an article earlier this year talking about all of the problems going on the production and all of that, and I'm gonna go briefly through that. Also, we will talk about the first two episodes that premiered at Cannes and what followed and all, and the reactions as well. So definitely gonna be a whole like maybe 8 to 10 minutes just talking about that. So if you wanna get into that, make sure you got yourself a snack, get yourself a drink, and we're gonna go through all of this. Make sure you're following us everywhere else. Culture Elixir, that's our name. We are here to talk and discuss all the things you love in pop culture and anything you're interested as well about it, from music, TV shows, video games, and movies. But let's get right into what happens in those first two episodes. So, a little rundown before we get into the first two episodes. Let's talk about the whole timeline of this. So, The Idol got announced a couple of years ago. We had Amy Simons come in as the showrunner, and we had The Weeknd, who was credited as creator, writer, producer, whatever. All right. They go ahead, they start filming. Lily Rose Depp is starring in, and you have other people like Dan Levy, you have Jenny from Blackpink, you have Rachel Sennett. Like a good amount of people in here are really talented, and I'm missing a bunch, but there's a big cast in here. So you have this show that's gone on to film. According to them, almost 75% of itself had been filmed. Then comes the problems when they say this is not the show we wanted, according to The Weeknd. And then they have Amy Simons exit, and we have Sam Levinson come in. This is where the production people start to say, this is not the show we signed up for. This is not what we wanted to do, because Sam Levinson came in and changed it completely from what Amy Simons had, which was a show that was more depicting a female taking her power back from the industry, her sexuality, all of that. And now you have a show that's more male fantasy, weird, like sexual driven, and it just gets into some very weird stuff. That was what the report from Rolling Stone said. Now, we do know that Sam Levinson has a track record with things from Euphoria and all of that, so many people are just saying it tracks. It tracks with what Sam Levinson has been accused of before, from Sydney Sweeney to Barbie Ferreira and all of that. Now, we jump ahead to Cannes, where we're going to have a premiere that happens, and we have Avo Tesfaye, we have Sam Levinson and Lily Rose Depp at the red carpet, ready to see this, and then they click play. At 10:30 p.m. on Monday in France, we see the first two episodes of The Idol. Of course, we don't. We'll see them June 4th, though, so we'll be here. So, let's get right into what these first two episodes entailed and just exactly how controversial really were they. So, let's get into it. I'm reading this off of Vulture, so I'll put the article if you want to read it yourself, because I'll probably skim through it and all of that. So they say, we meet Jocelyn, who is a pop star whose mother died a year earlier, and she may have had a psychological breakdown because of this. She's taken 8 months now to reintroduce herself back to the world with a hit single called World Class Sinner. And Vulture here puts that it kind of sounds like a Dua Lipa, Charlie XCX type vibe to it. We see that Jocelyn is very much so a person that wants to be perfect, and she's going to do whatever it takes to do that. We see that her managers and all of this, whatever, also are trying to pretty much push her in that direction to be better, all of this. We then see that she actually meets Tedros at a club that he actually owns, and he pretty much wants to be a part of her sort of like reintroduction to the world, her comeback, if you will, and will do whatever it takes to do that as well. So then we also find out that he's kind of like a cult leader as well for other artists, and they all seem to be like controlled emotionally and financially by Tedros. There is no really clear answer about who he is, in fact, or everything about him, but it seems that everybody gets a weird vibe from him, except for Jocelyn, of course, and there might be more to him that we don't know just yet from these first two episodes that I feel will start to be unraveled as we get deeper and deeper into this whole web of this Tedros. So we also see that he is very sketch. He has a rat tail, some of the reviews said as well. Stalking in the dark in a black trench coat, shock collaring his artist as well. and he has gone off the grid for some reason. That's what the management team for Jocelyn says. So this is pretty much the guy that you just see and you're just like, yeah, I don't think we should get into anything with that guy, right? He's not the right one. But regardless of this, Jocelyn and him sort of have this connection. We see also that they start hooking up, even though her friend isn't with it. Her friend being played by Rachel Sennett, who doesn't like the vibe that they're giving. Jocelyn, however, is just like, no, this is the guy who's going to get me back on the stardom. I'm going to listen to everything he's saying, and we're going to do what he needs to do. First order of business from Tedro is to redo the song, and he says, but sing it, and I quote, like, you know how to F. Yeah. Or as he explains as well. I mean, I'm telling you, a lot of these things on here I can't even say or describe because of how things are. So I will leave the Vulture article. But you know what I'm trying to say, right? You know what I'm trying to say, how we're getting into this show, right? They apparently record a new version of the song Sinner that Jocelyn has after he wraps a silk robe around her face, suffocating her. Apparently, she begins to audibly panic, but then he pulls out a pocket knife and cuts a small hole for her mouth, and he tells her to sing from it, and then he F's her. Yeah, that's exactly what it says right here. This is all in episode 1. I mean, I feel like we've just been reading and talking about this for a while now, but that was just episode 1, so we definitely know that we're about to get into something even darker as we go. Episode 2 apparently has Jocelyn's label rejecting her new sound, quote unquote, which involves a lot of orgasmic moaning and the Weeknd-esque production. Apparently, then we see that Jocelyn is worried that she may lose everything, that she may not have that it factor again. And we see that Tedros again comes through and brings some cocaine, and then they do what they do. He apparently is going to move in with Jocelyn now and re-record the entire album, as he says. And that's pretty much what we see right there. So they're saying that there is a lot of Sam Levinson look here, from the cinematography, heavy eye makeup, but of course also the sexual scenes and all of that are amped up just as he does. Somebody says if they are kind of torture-y or not, but then they say that the first couple of scenes may feel a little 50 Shades of Grey, but then the other ones are a little bit more, I don't know how I should feel about this. And yeah, that's pretty much what they're saying here. The premiere reception, like I said, there was a standing ovation. That doesn't really say much, though, I feel, because everything at Cannes does have a standing ovation, so it's not like it's an anomaly not to like to have one or anything like that. So definitely don't want to take much from that there, right? There's a lot of scenes, like I said, that are definitely going to be very much so talked about just from reading all of this from these first 2 episodes. And I feel like there is definitely a lot of discourse to be had as well about how the show is portrayed and everything. And like I told you at the beginning, there was this whole thing with the articles from Rolling Stones and all of that. Lily Rose Depp, The Weeknd, did come out to Sam Levinson's defense and said that he has been some of the best, like, one of the best directors or whatever to work with. So there is that as well. I don't know how I feel about this show. It definitely is going to be interesting. We will be watching the show. We will be discussing it. And it does come out June 4th, which is 2 weeks away. So we're almost there to see exactly what this show is going to be like. And we will be watching, like I said. I'm curious to know what your thoughts and opinions are so far on the reception that it's gotten from Cannes. What do you think about the first 2 episodes, which seem to see Tedros sort of becoming this very dark, like, shadow in Jocelyn's life that everybody seems to know that's a red flag, but Jocelyn seems adamant on saying, nah, not a red flag at all, right? Like I said, we are interested in seeing how this show will unravel as it goes, and we're definitely here. So let me know your thoughts and opinions on it down below. We will be discussing it more, going more in depth as we get more of the people talking about it as well. So stay tuned for us discussing it more. Make sure you're following us here as well. If you're listening to us on Spotify, really appreciate you. Give us a follow. All of that really helps out a lot, and we are trying to grow as well on YouTube and all of that. So make sure you follow us everywhere you can. Cultural Elixir is the name, but as always, I'll see all of you next time. Stay safe, stay positive.